Hola tribe. Today I am guided to speak about pain. How often people run from any form of pain, right? Physical pain, emotional pain, psychological pain. And we run from it in all different ways. We use different substances to cover it up, to numb it. We use different things like digital media, social media, TV. Some people, are extroverts and they go out all the time and constantly interacting with other people rather than just being by themselves. Recently I've had a few people more, and I thought it was interesting, the age bracket that it came from was an older age bracket. But numerous people, and I know young, that are the same, that they say they can't sit in silence, that they need something constantly going on in the background, a TV, a radio, or something, right? That's a numbing. It's a numbing. So, why is pain so important? Well, first and foremost, pain is an indicator that you're still alive. Let's start there, right? Feeling anything is an indicator that you are still here. Might not seem like a big deal. However, so many people out there are fighting to stay here, right? All of this madness going on about illness and disease and their want to be here on this earthly plane, right? So acknowledging and accepting the fact that feeling anything is honestly, it's a pain sensory. There is a receptor in the brain that just when you have an itch, that's part of our pain receptor. But most people don't quantify that an itch is a pain. It's an interesting point that I'll probably come back to. But just sensing a feeling can be underneath the pain. So there's that. Let's start with that. Why is pain so important? Pain lets us know where we're at. Right? It's part of our inner communications. Having a physical pain is your body's way of communicating to you. Right? Most people don't listen to their physical pain or complain about it or numb it or drug it, or they're not very proactive about it. There are many people who are proactive about their pain, but they may or may not meet the pain with kindness. They will meet the pain with more abusive nature, right? More condemnation or bullying, because they think they're in a fight or a war with that pain. And our pain is meant to be met with consciousness and kindness. Pain is a voice. Pain is communicating to us that something is out of alignment with our spirit, right? So whether it be a physical pain that you're experiencing, or an emotional, psychological pain, mental pain, are the most productive thing that any human being can do is to meet that pain with kindness. I know it sounds easier said than done, especially pain triggers a fight or flight response. It triggers a want to run, or it wants to push back. Can we meet our pain in a deep surrender? I often think there's this, it's the breath. It's meeting a pain and then having enough space between me and my pain that there is a breath, that there is a space for me to breathe. Regardless if it's an emotional pain or a physical pain or a psychological pain, right? So my style and method of healing, the body code method that I have created, is all about meeting our pain, right? Now, I'll be honest with you, sometimes that can be difficult, right? So being in a physical pain and working on unlocking the physical pain, fear can take over because we don't have enough body consciousness. A lot of people don't have true body consciousness. They have an assumption, or they also have like a piecemeal. They know the elbow is connected to the shoulder and it's connected to the arm, but they don't understand that that elbow has everything to do with the diaphragm, and the diaphragm has everything to do with the pelvis, and we are a building blocks and stack. So most people will talk about, I'm correcting my elbow by trying to correct the shoulder, or they might just only focus on the elbow. But some people will go beyond the elbow discomfort and they'll go into where it's connected into in the lines. But do they have enough knowledge and consciousness to know that that elbow pain is actually in the arches of their feet? Learning how to meet our pain, give it just enough space, just enough breath, and the guidance to free itself. Right? The process of having the conversation with the pain while we're in the process of freeing ourselves from it is extremely important. What conversation are you having with the pain? The majority of people I've worked with, their original conversation with the pain is, what the F is wrong with me? They must be broken. Get the F out. Usually it's some level of a violent discussion, right? And I'll be honest with you, it's because you're in a fight or flight response. Pain triggers fight or flight, right? Simply put, fight or flight. You run or you argue. Running is going and grabbing some alcohol, or it might even be smoking a joint or popping some pills. Right? There are so many different substances that can be utilized these days. So it's more productive to utilize maybe some of those substances and then, have it numb a little bit so that you have enough ability to meet it. That's far more powerful, right? So working on getting rid of a physical pain, maybe smoking a joint or having an edible or even having a shot, right? And then get on the floor and stretch and meet your pain with breath and consciousness would be far more powerful. So if you need to utilize a substance, do your best to utilize that substance for the sake of healing and not for the sake of covering it up or sabotaging it or pretending like it doesn't exist. Because when that substance wears off, it comes back again, right? And usually the process of the wear off, the substance wearing off, the mental and emotional body that were suppressed during the process comes up even louder. Right? We're in this chase, we're in a loop. To stop the loop is to have a conversation. Speaking to the pain, hearing it come back at you, right? And I'll tell you, there are very important questions to ask. Very important questions to ask the pain. For years, and I am so grateful to be able to offer this to you, I did it wrong for a long time. I was extremely self-abusive and self-loathing. And I would meet my pain with questions of why. And the pain would stay because I wasn't giving it the opportunity to tell me why. I didn't either want to hear the answer or I wasn't capable of understanding that depth of pain with a why question, right? So in my years of dealing with pain, I have discovered that when you ask the body, how can I let you go? What is it you need from me? Right? Far softer and gentler and easier to breathe with those questions, right? The why statement is I heard the phrase pressure cooker, right? It's adding more tension to an issue rather than how do I surrender this? How do I let it go? How do I become free? Right? How do I heal? What is it that you need to feel better? What is it that you need to let this go? Right? Those questions allow the pain space to communicate something different to you. So with that being said, allowing those kinds of questions to come up, regardless if it is a physical, emotional, or psychological pain, right? So if you're dealing with like a repetitive thought pattern, or you find yourself arguing someone in your mind, you find yourself defensive every time you engage with someone, whether it be physically in their presence or mentally think of them. When you think of that person, if you find yourself going to battle and arguing, if you think about that being and you get defensive, or you feel like you're preparing for a battle, it's the perfect time and opportunity. You know, and it doesn't have to be a person. It doesn't have to be a person. It could be a situation. It could be a thing. It could be anything. It could be anything that sets you off into a fight or flight response, right? Or freeze, fight, flight, or freeze. When you're in a freeze response, it's, in my opinion, freezing is the worst, because that's just, you can't even see your way out, right? I think of the, like a pinball machine, right? Old school pinball machines, when the ball gets into the center and it's locked into it, and it's just getting ding, 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 right? It's just getting jammed around, and then finally it gets thrown out. Whoo, tell you what, that's some serious adrenaline that gets moved during that time. So when you're in a state of freeze from a place of trauma, I would say that's probably the most painful, because you don't see a way out. And when you don't see a way out, you're not breathing. Oh, it's a horrible place to be. It's a horrible place to be. But at least being in a fight or flight response is like this exit, right? You actually know there is a way out, but I challenge you. Don't look for a way out. Look for a way in. Right? So when you're in a place of mental anguish, instead of arguing whatever you're arguing, stop. Just simply stop arguing. Done. Draw yourself back from the argument. That energy is still there, right? Don't try to turn your back on the argument. Just stop. It's a ball of energy in front of you. It's a ball of energy that you've been fighting, and we'll go with the person for now, okay? Because I think all of us can relate to arguing a human being in our brain, right? You have sibling, family member, friend, lover that you've argued in your mind, right? Instead of fighting them and instead of running from it, just stop. Stop. Take a breath. That energy's still there. They could still be responding or reacting in a volatile way towards you, but there's no threat. There's no threat, right? It's only happening on the inside, so you're not physically in a place of literal threat. It's your mind, and we'll say simply in your mind, even though truth reality is that that argument is truly happening in the etheric realm. It may not be happening in that time and place and received in present moment, but that conversation is literally taking place, and that other being will receive that energy when they've opened that channel to receive it. Right? So it's being accountable for the creation of that conversation. And so how do we change it? How do we change it? We stop, we pause, we breathe. And then we ask a different question. Why are we arguing? Why are you mad at me? Why am I mad at you? How can we move forward with love? How can we bring peace? What is the solution? The most important thing is the breath. In between the space, the grace, the breath. If you hold your breath, the energy never moves. You must breathe. You must create enough space between you and that energy, you and that pain. You must create enough space between the two in order for change to happen. I like to use visuals, and so I often think of like an ocean wave, right? When a wave is coming in, the element that most people are incapable of taking in and understanding is the air, the wind, right? That wave is dancing with the wind in that moment of time. It's a beautiful dance, right? It's a beautiful dance, ebb and flow, and ebb and flow. And you've also seen waves that the air meets it and it hits it really hard, right? And it splashes everywhere. It doesn't need to. Those are usually those fight moments, right? Where you're trying to force your will upon the other energy. Doesn't do much of anything. Doesn't create beauty. It doesn't create peace. Kind of just creates more struggle. So allowing ourselves to meet discomfort and pain with breath. Okay? So as I said, this is true of any form of pain. Physical pain, emotional pain, and psychological pain, right? And all of that pain stems from your soul communicating that something is out of alignment, right? Something feels in discord to the vibration of our soul. So, as we step into a time where self-exploration and journey work is the most powerful gift we can bring to this planet, right? The more we have peace inside of ourselves, the more we can bring peace to all other human beings. Right? That is the power. That's where the power is. The power is not in an opinion being better than somebody else's or have more scientific proof. Right? Science has been known to be wrong a lot. Science has changed its opinion and insight on things throughout history because we've unfolded deeper levels of knowing, better technology. Do not be attached to any of that. Allow for that space of breath in between you and what we believe to be true. Otherwise, it creates pain. Right? watching creates pain. I thank you. I hope this helps. Feel free to ask questions. Peace, y'all.